Just like how I started with them with the best moves, the Steelers are the beginning for the worst moves as well, because Deontay Johnson for Dante Jackson is a really rough deal in my eyes. Deontay Johnson is a top 25 or so, number one bona fide wide receiver, and he got traded for a guy that's best PFF rank in the past 3 years is 63 out of 127. Johnson has reliably hovered around 1,000 yards in each of the past 3 seasons, even with poor quarterback play, and Jackson is average to below average. I don't like this move. I especially don't like it because Tomlin is saying that Johnson didn't want out of Pittsburgh, which would have been the only sort of explanation I could see for a move this poor. And with that said, I just don't think this is good value for Deontay Johnson, and I did it for the best moves from Carolina's perspective as well. I think it's a really good move for them. I think it's a very poor move for the Steelers, though. Speaking of poor moves, the Giants gave out a really, really bad contract to Brian Burns. It was 5 years, $30 million per year. Burns is a good, not great pass rusher and an all right run defender. He ranked 52 out of 184 edge rushers in pressures this year, and his run defense was rated as 55 out of 112 edges in PFF grade 2. Despite those average-ish rankings, though, he ranks first in Spotrac's contracts for outside linebackers, which is insane to think about. Burns is a total gamble at this point because he just hasn't shown that great production on a consistent basis, and he is getting paid, though, like he is Myles Garrett. The next move that I don't like, speaking of Myles Garrett, this player has a connection to Garrett, is Baker Mayfield's 3 years, $33.3 million per year contract. I think it's cute, all the threes in that contract, but I think there's too many of them because that is absurd for a quarterback that locks a team into purgatory for an extended period of time. According to my quarterback metric that compares several quarterback stats to their supporting cast grades, Mayfield ranked 17 out of 35 quarterbacks this past season. That might just be his high end too. So I'm not a fan of this move one bit. I think this is locking yourself into being average and not really competing for a Super Bowl, which is what I think every team should be doing. So I really don't understand this. I think Tampa is just trying to stay sort of competitive in this division, which now has Kirk Cousins, a legitimate quarterback, as competition. So I think it makes even less sense when you look at it through that lens. Moving to the NFC East now, we have a team that usually is pretty smart, but they made a move I really disagree with. It's Saquon Barkley for 3 years, $12.6 million per year. That's an awful lot for a guy that hasn't been good in years. His best PFF grade in the past 5 years, so an extended period of time, is 15 out of 60 running backs. And he's getting the second most cash out of any running back, according to Spotrac. That doesn't sound good. I know that the Eagles' offensive line can make anybody look good behind their line, but that's the thing. They can make anybody look good. You don't need to shell out a ton of money for production at the running back position. I don't think this is going to be conducive to far more success than you would get from a DeAndre Swift level player. So I don't think this move makes a ton of sense. I think it's a lot of money for a guy that's just not all that productive anymore and is on the decline. Another running back move I don't like is Josh Jacobs at 4 years, $12 million per. The reason the deal is so bad is because Aaron Jones was just simply put much better than Jacobs this past season. And yes, Jones is a bit older, but he's only 3 years older. Jacobs' PFF grade this year was 50 out of 59, so really at the bottom, even following his great year the season before this year. He really followed it up with a stinker. And that's behind a really good offensive line in the Raiders as well. Aaron Jones' PFF grade this year was 9 out of 59, which is really impressive because the Packers don't have a very good run blocking line. Basically, all of their offensive linemen or more pass protection oriented than they are run blocking focused. So Jones was doing it the hard way, and he was really having success along the way. I don't understand locking yourself into this long contract for a running back that just, again, might be on the decline. Moving now to linebackers, we have a couple linebacker contracts I don't like as well. Jordan Brooks at 3 years, $10 million per year. $10 million is a lot to give to a below average or average linebacker. Brooks is a heat-seeking missile in the run game, yes, but he hasn't figured out the coverage aspect. Brooks ranked 68 out of 82 linebackers this year in PFF grade, and Jerome Baker, the linebacker they got rid of in pursuit of Brooks, ranked dead average at 41 out of 82 linebackers. I don't understand this move. I think they would have been much better served sticking with Baker. He's just a more refined player. Brooks is a real gamble, and the Dolphins, they don't have the timeline for gambles, really. They should be competing for a Super Bowl right now with Tua still being sort of cheap and not really being in the full force of his gigantuan contract he's about to receive. I don't like this move. I think it's pretty poor for the Dolphins. Another linebacker move is with the Chiefs, and that's surprising because the Chiefs are so well ran. But it's Drew Tranquil's 3-year, $6.3 million per year contract. That is a perfectly fine contract for Tranquil. He is worth that amount. But the problem is, Nick Bolton is a stud, and Leo Chanel has come a long way and is now very good, ranking 5 out of 82 linebackers in PFF grade. The only way this deal makes sense is if they don't want to pay a premium on Bolton and are going to roll with Chanel and Tranquil for the long term. But as it stands now, it just looks like a very healthy contract for a linebacker 3, which I don't think is a very logical move for Kansas City. But maybe they are galaxy braining this and are saying we don't want to pay linebackers a ton down the line and are going to deal Bolton at some point. In that case, this deal makes a ton of sense, actually, and is nowhere near one of the worst moves of the offseason. The final move we have is another linebacker move, and it's Kenneth Murray to the Titans at 2 years, $9 million per year. That's a ton of money for a guy that's only promise is from being overdrafted as a first-round guy. So far, his play has been very poor, with his best PFF rank in the past 3 years being 73 out of 81 linebackers. That is horrendous. That is, again, his best PFF rank. That is not me cherry-picking his worst year and saying this is what he's going to be. That's his best rank in the past 3 years. Murray is being paid like a high-end linebacker when he's shown to be poor in coverage and rough as a run defender as well. So I don't understand that deal one bit. The Titans do have the flexibility to swing on these sort of high upside guys because they're just nowhere near contending at the moment. But I would much rather look for somebody else at this amount of money because I just think Kenneth Murray is simply not worth anywhere near this amount. I think he's worth maybe about half that much. So I think these are some really poor deals. Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. And also be sure to like and subscribe for more NFL content.